It began with a single step, a foot hitting the earth in rhythm, a body swaying to a tune no one else could hear. In the summer of 1518, in the heart of the Holy Roman Empire, the town of Strasbourg was seized by something unspeakable. It was not war, not famine, not plague as they knew it. It was dance. Not the joy of celebration, but a frenzy of anguish. Men, women, and children twirled and spasmed in the streets for days, some to their deaths. A city possessed, a people bewildered. A question that still haunts us to this day: what made them dance? The year was 1518. Strasbourg, then a bustling part of the Holy Roman Empire, sat at a crossroads of trade, faith, and fear. The plague had passed, but its shadow lingered. Harvests had failed. Taxes were high. The church thundered about sin and salvation. The world, many believed, was unbalanced, teetering between divine judgment and earthly chaos. Superstition wasn't just part of life. It was the lens through which reality itself was viewed. And then it began. On a sweltering July morning, a woman named Frau Trophea stepped into the street. Without music, without warning, she began to move. Her limbs jerked, her body twitched, her feet pounded the cobblestone like drumbeats echoing from another realm. Hours passed, and she did not stop. Day turned to dusk, and still she danced, her face twisted not in joy but in agony. Her neighbors watched in disbelief, then fear. Within days, dozens had joined her. Within weeks, over 400 people were caught in the trance. Strasbourg was no longer a city, it was a stage for madness. Physicians were summoned, but this was no ordinary malady. There were no swellings, no rashes, no signs of plague, just relentless, involuntary motion. Some danced until their feet bled, others collapsed in exhaustion, only to rise again, driven by a force beyond reason. Several died of stroke, heart attack, or sheer fatigue. Doctors called it hot blood, a fever of the spirit. The prescribed cure? More dancing. Authorities opened guild halls and even hired musicians, hoping somehow to dance the madness away. The sound of fiddles filled the streets, and the death toll rose. The dancing plague of 1518 is not just a footnote in history. It is a mystery that continues to baffle scientists, historians, and psychologists alike. Several theories have emerged, each as strange as the affliction itself. One theory blames ergot, a toxic mold that grows on damp rye. Ergot contains compounds similar to LSD. Consuming it can trigger hallucinations, convulsions, even hysteria. The afflicted, it said, may have been tripping, unknowingly, on a natural hallucinogen. But this theory falters under scrutiny. Ergot typically causes paralysis, not wild movement. And if it were to blame, why didn't livestock suffer too? The answer remains elusive. Another, more chilling explanation is mass psychogenic illness, a collective psychological response to extreme stress. In a time of famine, disease, and spiritual terror, the mind may seek escape in strange ways. In Strasbourg, that escape became a dance. Entire communities, swept up in fear and spiritual anxiety, may have subconsciously mirrored each other, like an emotional contagion, a trauma so deep it took over their bodies. In medieval belief, Saint Vitus was the patron saint of dancers and epileptics. To displease him was to risk a curse of uncontrollable motion known as Saint Vitus's dance. In their eyes, this was not madness. It was divine punishment or divine possession. Some even built shrines to the saint, hoping to end the plague. Others saw demons, witches, or planetary alignments as the cause. And who can blame them? When reason fails, belief rushes in to fill the void. By late August, the dance began to fade. Authorities, now desperate, banned music. Processions were held, pilgrimages made, victims were taken to the mountains to pray in solitude at a shrine to Saint Vitus. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the frenzy ceased. Like a fever breaking, like a nightmare dissipating at dawn. The streets emptied, the music stopped, and Strasbourg was silent once more. The dancing plague was not the only time people moved as if compelled by invisible forces. In 1374, a similar outbreak struck Aachen. In Madagascar, women have experienced ritualized possession. In 1962, hundreds of schoolgirls in Tanzania erupted into uncontrollable laughter and seizures, a modern mirror of medieval madness. These are not isolated anomalies. They are echoes of trauma, belief, biology, and something deeper. Something that binds the human experience across time. Today, Strasbourg stands as a thriving European city, but beneath its cobbles, the past pulses. The earth remembers the rhythm of madness, and maybe so do we. The dancing plague of 1518 reveals the fragile line between mind and body, between culture and chaos. It teaches us that under enough pressure, the human psyche can crack, and the cracks can dance. That stress, belief, and fear are not abstract forces. They are as real as any pathogen, and just as contagious. In a way, we never stopped dancing. We dance at weddings, in protests, in celebration, in grief. We sway in stadiums. We chant in the streets. We move to express the inexpressible. Movement is memory. Movement is message. And sometimes, movement is madness. The lesson of 1518 is not just a warning, it's a mirror. When the world becomes too much, our bodies will speak what our mouths cannot. Sometimes, they will dance. If you found this story as strange and fascinating as we did, don't let it vanish into silence. Subscribe for more forgotten histories, hidden science, and the mysteries that move us. As a new growing channel, your likes and subscription motivates us a lot. Share this story to keep the conversation alive. And comment below, what do you think caused the dancing plague of 1518? Until next time, keep listening to the echoes of the past, because sometimes history has rhythm.